What's good, everybody? This episode of the podcast is sponsored by DistroKid. They are the go-to for digital music distribution and the easiest way for musicians to get their music onto Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, TikTok, YouTube, and more. They offer unlimited uploads, and artists keep 100% of their earnings, getting your music onto platforms and into stores 10 to 20 times faster than any other distributor. They help with cover song clearance, automatic splits, and they offer all kinds of tools and templates to help you get the most visibility for your releases. I dig this company and appreciate their business model that offers more features and tools than any other distributor while doing it at the most affordable price for solo artists, bands, DJs, studio artists, and any other creators that are making music or producing music in their home, and they offer label services as well. They've got 3 different tiers that they offer to creators that start as low as $22.99 a year. That's just $1.92 a month. And even their top tier is only $7.50 per month. And the best part about DistroKid sponsoring the podcast is they are offering Dan Cable Presents listeners 30% off their first year of service with DistroKid, making their affordable prices even cheaper for you. I will put that discount link in the episode notes. It will also be in my Instagram bio. Big shout out to DistroKid for sponsoring this podcast for more than 3 years now. Much appreciated. Now let's get into the episode.
Looking down at the
What is happening, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Dan Cable Presents podcast. Thank you for tuning into the program once again. If this is your first time listening, thanks for checking out the show. You can find fresh episodes coming at you on Tuesdays. And if you want to help support this thing in a free way, you can do so by clicking subscribe on iTunes, clicking write a review, giving the podcast 5 stars if you feel like it is deserving of so. And that will help propel this thing into the tops of those iTunes charts, giving it more visibility on the national and international levels, helping strangers find the podcast, and just a great way to contribute to the growth and sustainability of this thing. Appreciate the hell out of all the folks that have already taken the time to do so. If you're not listening on Apple, just hit like, follow, subscribe wherever you do listen to things. If you're watching on YouTube, you can hit subscribe there and check out some video content. And I think, as always, word of mouth is still a very powerful thing. So let somebody know if you're enjoying this thing. Tell somebody. I hope everybody is doing well out there. This week on the podcast, Portland, Oregon based beat maker Lawrence 13 is on the podcast. Found out about this dude a few years back at a Hungry Hip Hop event here in Portland, which is a monthly hip hop event that happens over at Mississippi Pizza. It's been going on for a very long time, probably at least a decade, and I've been keeping up with him ever since I saw him at that performance. Stoked we finally made this thing happen. We'd been talking about it for a long time, and he just put out a brand new record called To the Dome Volume 4. Just a really cool listen front to back, so I thought this would be a good time to jump on the mics with him. Big fan of the prior volumes of that series as well. They all have a really different feel to them, and really love his use of vocal samples that help provide a narrative and help tell a story through the music. Just enjoyed getting to know him through this chat and loved talking to this dude about his experience and time he spent as a magician and where the parallels are between music performance and the performance of magic and sampling music to make beats and just creating your own version of the art. Also, just to hear how it contributed to his confidence as a performer, doing the magician thing and then jumping into the beat world and doing live performances and how that has helped him a bit. I'm not sure that I have talked to many people who are as analytical in their approach to making music as Lawrence 1-3. So I really enjoyed getting to hear about that aspect of things, and I hope you enjoy this chat. All the music featured in the episode is from Volume 4 of To the Dome. Links will be in the episode notes. Episode 460 of the podcast with Lawrence 1-3 coming at you and kicking things off. We are going to play the only track on the record that features a rapper. This one has Kyle Raps on it. Just absolute fire bars on this one. It's called Fuck McDonald's. Now let's do the damn thing.
This for the Congo, cobalt, silicon flow. While they bomb the Gaza Strip and finish plans to build a condo. Can't afford a Bronco, can't stand the rain, ain't got no poncho. Man never changed, yeah, from Donald to AMLO, Macron to Picasso, with Herzog to Netanyahu. My soul remains on glow. I shine for my folks before from off this globe. I have to slide like a trombone. One life is not long, but generation trauma lives on, though. I'm trying to astro project the forgotten ghosts of Lumumba. Ensemble, resurrect Floyd and Amadou Diallo. Soon the whole squad will be in Cabo.
Yeah, sure.
Eating shrimp tacos with the narcos. Black like charcoal.
Stoked to have you. I remember, I think the first time I saw you perform some music was at a Mississippi pizza thing. I'm not sure that it was a Hungry Hip Hop, but I mean, that seems likely. I feel like it was maybe like an Eric Boderick, Corey B.
It was, yeah.
Night. Is that feel
and
good?
That was one of my first shows. So they were kind enough to give me one of my first shows, and I remember it was a big deal for me because at the time I was just having a hard time getting someone to put me on, and I was definitely an outsider for sure. I'm kind of a more quiet person and not super social, so you know, people not knowing who I am and just showing up and being like, "Hey, I can hear my beats," and you know that it's not always about the substance of your product.
Yes. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
it is not always about the substance of the product.
Yeah.
So were you like showing up to
Yeah.
things
There was a
like
long
prior
time.
to getting put on that night?
Yeah, there was a long time I was just kind of showing up to shows and kind of just, being the kind of weirdo that kind of hung around and trying to meet people that also made beats or appreciated beats or liked the same music that I liked.
Yeah.
And as an adult, that's just harder and harder. Being middle-aged, showing up and, just being a stranger in a strange place.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of uncomfortable moments.
I feel like within that beat community, a lot of times it is maybe seems to be like a lot of shyer, introverted
Yeah,
people
totally.
too.
Totally. A lot of people that are comfortable being alone for long periods of time. Not necessarily working with other people that aren't in bands.
Yeah.
A lot of this is like learning strange vintage pieces of gear that takes a lot of time and dedication and a certain kind of personality and appetite for certain types of abuse and a lot of just a lot of failing and then eventually not. So
What was it like for you, like having that first opportunity to play your beats in front of people, and like, did you have some sort of, I don't know, vision of like what you wanted that to be like, or what you think is maybe comes across as engaging when someone is watching a beat set?
Yeah, so I think I definitely wanted it to be visually engaging. Otherwise, we may as well just tune into a podcast or something. And I have a prior experience in entertainment, and so I have certain sensibilities about what it means to be on stage and what it means to captivate and spark someone's interest, as an audience.
Yeah.
And to give as well as receive. Give someone an incentive to invest their attention and energy, not only with the music, but, to be there physically. So I feel like there needs to be interesting things visually happening, a little bit of mystery, a little bit of wonder. So I very much consciously picked that in my choice of gear and live performance. It needs to be something that people will want to ask questions about after, so they have a reason to talk to me afterwards.
Yeah. I mean, I saw you perform like last week at Specs.
Yeah.
And was it the 505 that you were?
It was the 555.
Okay, I'm not a gear nerd by any means, so I'm just gonna get cooked in the comments by these by the nerds. They're like, this guy doesn't know anything about gear. But
yeah, bro, that's a boss. It's not a Roland.
And so like you had like a couple other things like attached to your rig that day, and I saw you doing some like theremin type shit, some real physical, and I had no idea that the 555 has that on board.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And like that gave me reason to talk to you about it after.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I was going to say what's up either way, but I was just like, what the fuck did like just happen? Like, is it the other little thing you had attached to the
right. And so that's kind of what I'm talking about is that, when you break it down, it's just a filter attached to a light sensor. And so people know what a filter sounds like. It's not that interesting. But if you add a visual element, then it gives someone a reason to be there.
Yeah. Does it also feel like a different layer of like interactiveness, like on your part, like from a performance?
Yeah, I mean, it keeps things interesting for me too. It keeps me engaged too, and I think it's easy because I don't know how many SP404 sets have you seen? Like 1,000?
I mean, maybe not 1,000, but a lot.
Yeah.
It's like what I expect to see when I show up to a beat night,
right?
Like some sort of night where a bunch of people are playing music like that. I feel like that's the common denominator a lot of the time. So
right. And in entertainment, in my entertainment past, there has to be something that makes your performance both meaningful and memorable, not only for the audience but for the client. And if you can attach that meaning and interest to the product, maybe a year later, they're going to remember that performance.
Yeah.
Whereas they might not if you're just, another skinny, nerdy kid with glasses looking down, hunched over on a table, a Rubbermaid table.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I appreciated, like, I don't know, it just kind of like adds to the mystical element almost with the sensor.
Right.
Aspect of it, where it's like, whoa, he's like doing some magic.
Yeah. And what's funny is like when, we're talking about gear that came out in the early 2000s. And when it came out, it's called the D-Beam, and a lot of, real hardcore musicians and beat makers would just make fun of that shit,
Yeah.
It was like the joke. Oh, you got the D-Beam move? Yeah. But now it's like no one knows what it is, and now it's cool, or at least I try and make it cool. So.
Yeah. Or like you said, it's like not what everybody has.
Right.
So it kind of becomes like this novelty in that way.
Right. And my hope is that it's not a cheap novelty.
I don't think it comes across like that at all.
Right. I think it's not a gimmick if the music's good.
Yeah.
Or if the performance is good.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. So that first set I saw you were like pretty much in full postman attire.
Right. Right.
The full get up, which I also appreciated,
You're
like
right.
that stuck with me.
And you remember that, right?
Absolutely. I was
Right.
like, yeah, Lawrence 1-3, the postman guy.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm just another skinny guy with tattoos. Sometimes I look around at beat events and I'm like, dude, we all look the same. Like, how do we all end up looking like this and being like this? Just these quiet, shy people with a hat. You can't see their eyes. They got glasses.
Yeah.
So
Does that help you slip into something, do you feel like, by putting on like a very particular thing? Or even when I saw you the other day and you're just like, wearing the hat
right
that you were wearing, and like the trench coat vibe, like you had like a long jacket on, but just in general, those things help you kind of slip in.
Right. Yeah. Because it's the world's a stage, and we're kind of playing a character, especially as artists. Putting on that costume, it's almost like. So I used to be a college athlete, and my coach was talking a lot about sports psychology and putting on your costume, having a ritual where you put on that cape.
Yeah.
Where you're in the locker room or whatever, and you put on that. I was a track athlete, so we would put on our singlet, and just having a ritual of imagining like some kind of power coming from that costume. And I think about that all the time when I'm getting ready for a set or a show, or in other performance occupations that I've had, or anything that can put you in that mind state, that performance mind state, where it's like, it's on now and I'm being watched, and everything that I do from in the venue, everything that I do loading in matters.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's I think you can pick up on like that intentionality, or like, that you put the effort in to like present yourself in a certain way. Again, like, I don't think it's like a gimmicky thing either.
Right.
It's like,
no, it's as much for me as it is for everyone else.
Yeah, like you're contributing to like the presentation of the music in that way, and
right. And I'm showing up for the event manager or the whoever runs the venue. I'm showing up as a professional. I'm showing up as someone that I'm paying them back for putting on the risk of having me there.
Yeah.
So I take that really seriously.
I think as someone who puts on events from time to time, that's like very appreciated. I don't think that always crosses everybody's mind.
Yeah.
That like you can do very small things,
right,
that can like help the run of show go smoothly, and
Right. Thinking about, and in a way it's like kind of tactical empathy, because you're thinking about the needs of others. You're thinking about everyone else's perspective as a performer. And a lot of performers, it's like, okay, it's about me sort of thing. But it's, I don't know, my attitude is like, we're all connected in this certain way, this music that brings us together. And anything that I can do to make things go more smoothly, or any kind of value that I can bring to anyone else just by doing things that aren't that hard.
Yeah.
Definitely is a bullet point for me, So.
Yeah. I relate to what you were talking about as far as, being an athlete and like just like putting on that piece of gear, or that singlet, it's like really interesting how much power that can have over you, just like putting on a particular piece of clothing. Like, I played ice hockey last night, and there's just not only something about like putting a jersey on, especially if you have a jersey you're really excited to put on or something, but like, just the way, there's like a lot of gear that you have to put on to play hockey.
Right.
There's like a very specific way that it goes on every time.
Right.
And everybody has their own way of doing it.
Their way of
really,
lacing.
It's really funny to like watch people like in the locker room and be like, oh, that person, they put their skates on first. And that person, they put their shin guards on first.
Right.
And then skates, and then the pants, and like everybody really has like their own way of doing it, but it's like, it is very like ritualistic, and it's like if you do one of those things a little differently, sometimes it can feel a little weird, you know?
Right,
Like,
right.
I
And
strapped up my pads a little bit weird last night, and I could kind of feel it, like.
And that's how those like superstitions kind of arise around performance and athletes.
Yeah.
Where you know, you have the guy that like every time he leaves the locker room, he always taps the top of
Yeah.
the door, or listen to a certain song
Yeah.
every time.
Yeah.
But so I definitely draw from those days, just to. It's not really superstitious, but it's like, I know I'm going to be successful if I get into the same mind state that I did when I broke this record, or when I won this race. You can draw from that past success, even if it's not the same discipline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do maybe like some of those other rituals look like for you as far as slipping into that mindset to put on a
Yeah.
performance?
So, I used to be a professional magician.
That's right. I remember you talking about this.
And we could talk about that if you want, but
We're gonna talk about that. there's no just skipping over that.
and I I've always struggled with a bit of anxiety as far as social settings and being confident talking to new people, and so it would take a lot of emotional energy when I would go out and perform every night. And I had a residency at a hotel where I would drive over the West Hills. It would be probably about a 20-minute drive. I would always play Nipsey Hussle Victory Lap, because it just always got me in that mindset, like kind of like self-empowering, self-determination, just that kind of attitude of like, not like I'm the shit, but like it kind of gets me in that like very confident attitude. And even coming here, guess what I put on?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Gearing up.
Yeah, exactly. Gearing up. I've just knowing that I've been put in these really scary, or put myself in these really scary, high pressure situations, and every time that I did well, I listened to Nipsey, and he was there with me. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you desire to be in those situations? Like, do you think that there's something to it that you feel like brings something out in you that doesn't always like show itself unless you're in those situations?
Yeah, it's like I feel like a lot of shy people and people that are afraid of these situations get kind of a sense of accomplishment when they succeed, when they overcome that fear.
Yeah.
And it almost becomes addicting, right? And then eventually it kind of gets easier and easier, and it's not as scary. But I think just as a human, you have the need to kind of rise above and be like, that's why I like, there's like the hero trope in storytelling, and or the underdog trope.
Yeah.
And people see themselves as certain archetypes, and everyone wants to see themselves as the hero, as someone who had the odds against them, and they kind of rose above, and that's kind of where my head's been at in a lot of these performance situations, and it gives you the confidence to be like, I do belong here. I can do this. I can be like my heroes, And so I feel that way. I'm overcoming an obstacle and proving my self-worth to myself every time.
Yeah. Kind of an empowering thing for yourself to throw yourself in the uncomfortable situation.
Yeah.
Get through it, maybe even do well in it, you know, not just get through it.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah. And you're doing these things that are, whether it's doing the magician thing or like doing the beat sets, it's a very like solo endeavor.
Right.
very like vulnerable thing that you're standing up there
Right.
in front of a group of people.
Yeah. It's like a true expression. A true expression, and it's also kind of like this, you feel like kind of like your magic, where it's like you're kind of creating something out of nothing. And it's like, if you've had a tough upbringing, or if you've had hardships in your life where you felt powerless, it's almost like you're erasing that, and you're saying, no, fuck you. Or, I don't know if I'm supposed to be.
You can say whatever you'd like.
You're like, fuck you. This is who I am, and this is what I can do.
Yeah. Is the moniker a part of that too? Of like having, not just putting music out under your name, but having this alias to put music out under. Do you feel like that is helpful in you getting to the place you need to be creatively, instead of just being like, I'm Brandon, guys, like, this is my music?
Oh, right. Right. Yeah, no, that's definitely a part of it. That's part of character and world building. I feel like every artist is building a universe around their art and themselves, like a certain world that people can come into and kind of be lost in.
Yeah.
And having a alternate character definitely helps with that. Doesn't hurt at all to have I think it helps to have an alias, or that character that you can ascribe to that.
Yeah. It even seems like, I don't know, looking at the body of work, like specifically with the 20 to the Dome series.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like the artwork is very like cohesive between the three, almost like this comic book vibe to them.
Right.
Like, just building worlds through like the aesthetic of the thing.
Right. And someone mentioned that at a show. I was at the Atlantis Lounge and they were like, yeah, I want to see this comic book. Like, I was looking at the art, and I want to know what the story is.
Yeah.
And I told them I haven't quite hashed it out what the story is, but I have a feeling of what it is. But I can't quite put it into a full paragraph yet.
So you just put out volume 4 with 20 to the Dome. Do each of them, do you feel like there's like some sort of like overarching like theme to them?
Yeah.
Like going into it, like.
Very much so. So, I would say for 2, 3, and 4, they're each themed around a particular time in my life, certain challenges and difficulties, personal difficulties, as well as like kind of a movie or an idea to tie it all together.
Yeah.
So I think for volume 2, it was the movie Brazil, a Terry Gilliam movie. And for 3, it was Jacob's Ladder. That was very dark time in my life. And for this last one, it was My Dinner with Andre, and very much spoke to our current times and our current systems and various forces of oppression.
So what does like the process look like, I guess, building something like this, 20 tracks, and, putting it together so that it does feel cohesive? Because I think that's like something I get out of listening to them. Like, it does feel like it was built very intentionally and not just like, oh, this is a beat tape, guys. I'll just put, I just threw these on.
20 hot tracks
Yeah.
to the dome.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a really, I don't know, I have a very specific process where like for instance, this last project was created from about 150 ideas, and I didn't finish them. I mean, it was over the course of 3 years plus.
You're talking like the entire series, not just like this volume.
Just this.
Just volume 4.
Yeah.
150 ideas.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay.
So what I'll do is I'll do everything in stages. So let's say I'm digging for samples and I come up with a 4-bar idea, and I'll have an A section and a B section, and I'll just stop and I'll just move on to the next one. I'll leave that stage there, and I might not come back to it for like a year. Okay, so now I'm going to do the drums on all 150 ideas.
Okay.
Drums, and all the way through. Okay, now I'm going to do the effects. Now I'm going to do percussion on all these ideas. And this time around, I was smart enough to document all this stuff on live videos. So I haven't put them out, but I can release them if I want to. But now I have kind of these half-finished beats, but a lot of them. And now I can look at them objectively and be like, literally go through with a notebook with notes. I'm going to score this from 1 to 10. These are my strongest ideas. Because the idea is that I don't want to invest time into finishing tracks that aren't going to be seen.
Yeah.
Because I'm a whole ass adult. I got shit to do. I have to survive.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so if I would have finished 150 beats from start to finish, I wouldn't be done. I wouldn't be done by now if I finished all of those beats from start to finish. I only finished the ones that are worth chasing. Now I have 80 that are like solid ideas that are almost finished. All these tracks, now I look at them objectively. What emotions am I going for? What am I trying to say with these beats? What are the BPMs? What instruments are being used? What beats sound good next to each other? Now I'm narrowed down to 50. What beats are kind of whack? What's something that sounds like someone else? What's something that's not really going to add value to the scene or add value to the story that I'm trying to tell? Okay, let's just edit those out. Okay, now I have like 45 beats.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm just gonna take out the 5 weakest ones, and hopefully what's left is kind of an entire piece.
What do you like about like that calculated? It seems like everything you're doing is like pretty calculated and like analytical, and talking about being objective and like ranking things even by like a scoring system. Like what do you like about that approach, or do you just feel like it's not really even a choice? This is just like the way you do shit.
I think some of it's to do with control, just the need to control and just kind of a pressure that I put on myself.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's perfectionism, because I don't know. I guess we could talk about that, but I guess this is just about stepping back and looking what my greater goal is. I'm trying to create these worlds that people want to listen to from start to finish.
Yeah.
And that sounds cohesive. Like if I'm watching a movie and there's this weird scene in it, I'm going to be thinking about that like weeks from now. I don't want those weird scenes. I don't want any fat. I want to trim all the fat out. And so that's kind of, it's a very methodical approach, but it's one that I started a little bit in Volume 2 and then definitely in Volume 3. But for this one, it was on a much larger scale. I think I maybe had like 80 beats for volume 3 and maybe about 60 something beats for volume 2. So it's each time I'm it's almost like a law of diminishing returns where each time it's like it takes more work to either equal or outdo myself.
Yeah. But over time, do you feel like because you are working that way, is it becoming easier for you to discern what belongs and what does not?
It is, yeah. I'm definitely kind of become more of like a ruthless editor, and I've, having done it so repetitiously and so kind of in such a ritualistic way, I know what's going to work and what's not going to work.
Yeah.
I know what samples are going to work for my style, and it's hard. It's a hard intuition to put into words, like listening to a record and being like, nah, like I know some guys that would kill on this, but like that's not me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to waste time on something that's not me.
Are creative parameters ever helpful to you in this process? Like, is it just being like, I'm only going to use this piece of gear? Or
Yeah. And I've set out to do that from the very beginning. Like, this project hasn't touched a DAW at any point. It's all hardware based, and that's a conscious decision I made, when I started making beats, mid 2000s. I kind of have a weird history with music where there's like a decade where I was only a magician.
Okay.
And it's kind of my personality. I'm either all in or not at all.
Yeah.
So there's periods where I was only a magician. There's periods where I was only a distance runner.
Yeah.
Trying to make the Olympic trials. It's just I don't know. Maybe I get a sense of comfort in just being hyper focused, or maybe it's just like my personality, or like maybe I'm neurodivergent. But
Well, I think that attributes to doing something well, though, hopefully too, of like you're not being spread too thin, where I can definitely go the complete opposite end of that spectrum and be like, I'm working on this and this and this, and then it like becomes pretty overwhelming, and then some things suffer because of that.
Right.
Right.
You just get spread too thin, trying to keep too many plates spinning.
Yeah. And
for me, a lot of that comes from fear. The fear of failure. But, if that's all I'm doing, and I'm, eating, sleeping this thing, in my mind, I'm like, how can I fail? How can I fail?
Yeah.
If I know that I am putting my blood, sweat, and tears into this, and I know that I am doing it to a way further extent than some of my peers.
Yeah.
It's going to lend itself to something favorable or special.
Yeah, or at least I think like maybe it helps you feel good with you and like what you put into it.
Right.
There's not really like a lot left unturned in that style of approach.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always remember, and I always go back to, I'm not going to recite it, I'm not good with quotes, but there's a Bukowski quote that talks about this. Talks about if you're going to do something, do it all the way. It might lead to losing your job. It might lead to sleeping on a park bench. And I remember it and in a lot of these matters, like I hear my mom's voice where it's like, do you want it bad enough? What are you willing, did you fail? Well, maybe you didn't want it bad enough then. Maybe you weren't willing to sacrifice enough then.
Yeah. Do you feel like that can also be a little harsh in some situations?
Yeah, it's extreme.
Yeah.
It's harsh. It from an outsider's perspective, it looks crazy. And that's okay. Is the shit hot? Is it good?
Yeah.
All right, cool. See you later.
Are you like, I don't know, is there a space for like some grace for yourself too though? Like Is that like a difficult battle for you at times internally if you feel like you have failed? Or
There's a little bit of space, but I feel like like in running there's we call it this championship mentality, right? Where you're living and breathing this thing, and you're willing to give your whole life up for this thing. And watching the most successful guys were the guys that sacrificed the most. So yes, there's room for grace, but especially in our system and in our culture of competing against one another, it's basically how badly do you want it?
Yeah.
How much pain do you want to go through?
it's that Michael Jordan mentality.
Right, the Mamba mentality.
Yeah. Does making music feel competitive to you? Or like when you show up to a night of performance,
Right.
do you feel like you're competing?
I feel like I'm competing with myself. I feel like I'm trying to prove something to myself. I don't necessarily pit myself against other people. It's more like I'm trying to honor my existence, and I'm trying to honor where I came from, and I'm trying to honor my family. To be something. It's almost like I'm justifying my own existence,
Does it always feel like a good way to do that? Does that kind of like go back to putting yourself in those, difficult situations and kind of proving that you can, get out of them? Or
It's good in the sense that, like, ultimately if I put something out, it means that I've approved of myself. I've approved of what I've produced. And in group settings, I don't talk a lot. I kind of sit back, and I'm kind of the person where if I'm making a statement, I've thought this through, and in a sense, I know that I'm right already. Or I know that I'm at least coming correct in my convictions.
yeah.
And so if I'm coming, I'm coming correct, and that's it.
Yeah. And do you feel like that within the performance as well?
I do. Yeah.
It's like, I put the time in for this.
Right.
You're not going to show up unprepared,
Right.
kind of thing.
Right. If you're putting out risks to put me on, I'm going to show up, and I'm going to do something that's going to make you ask me again. And
Yeah.
I'm going to do it again. You ask me again, I'm going to do it again.
Yeah. Is streamlining like the gear in a way that like makes it feel comfortable and easy to navigate even a part of that? Like, I don't know, even thinking about like the rig I saw you have at Specs and like some of the recent videos you've been putting out, like this I don't know if it's like a drum stand or like a cymbal stand or something,
Well, a lot of people don't know that the 555 has like a mounting bracket, or it has posts for like a mounting bracket.
Okay.
No one uses it. So again, that's just a very intentional choice, just in doing that. But also, there's a saying in magic, pack small and play big.
Okay.
Right. So you want your setup to be versatile. You want to be able to play any venue. You want to be able to show up to a wedding. You want to be able to show up to a trade show, prepared with the same gear that you can take in a car, on a bus, on a plane.
Yeah.
But also the ability to move forward towards the audience, because if you ever, you know, when you go to a beach show, everyone's sitting in the back, like, you know, with their arms crossed, like, you know, everyone's trying to outcool the other person, at least on a subliminal level.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you're not that cool. You're almost out of the venue. It's like, where are you going, dog? But I don't know, from a performance standpoint, any kind of barriers that you have in between yourself and the audience, whether it be a laptop, looking like you're checking your email in front of people, or like I said, like a Rubbermaid table.
Yeah.
If you could take away those barriers and come, you know, if the audience is not going to come to you, I'm going to come to the audience.
Yeah.
And I'm going to invite them to, you know, to peer over my shoulder, to become involved in this kind of more interactive experience.
Yeah.
So
because with that setup, you could just be like in the middle of the floor.
Yeah, and I did that. I did that at the Atlantis Lounge recently. And I would get comments. Eric Fury, I think, he was like, he's like, I've been coming here for years. I have never seen anyone come to the middle of the floor and perform like that.
Yeah.
And maybe he'll remember that 6 months from now, a year from now. So.
Yeah, it's funny that they're. I don't know why everybody feels like they need to not approach where the performance is happening sometimes in those spaces.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it's kind of nice, I guess. Everybody can just like hang out and listen. But thinking about maybe some Thirsty City nights specifically.
Oh, yeah.
It always takes like this thing to happen for people to break the barrier. And
it's about social proof, I think. You know, we're all animals. People have to think that someone else thinks that someone's dope before they permit themselves to think that something's dope. And if it takes a line of 3 people to start things off in the front row,
yeah,
then it gives people permission to come forward.
Yeah,
because they have that social proof. You know, we're all just animals, just following each other.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's like specifically in that Goodfoot space for anybody that's been in there.
Yeah.
The best shows I've been to there are the ones where everybody is standing in that same floor space where the performance is taking place instead of like leaving that gap.
Right.
And I think specifically, you know, when there's things like sets happening where there's a lot of like electronic hardware, it's fun to be on top of it.
Yeah.
Like, it's fun to watch like every button being pushed.
Right.
Like,
or how it's connected. You know, what's your effects chain like? Like,
yeah.
What where in line is this piece of gear? And like, you're not going to know that unless you show up.
Yeah.
Physically.
Yeah.
Not just, you know, in spirit.
I would also imagine for you, it's maybe nice, you know, having your rig set up like that you can always, you know, manipulate the height of things. And because like, if not, you're maybe like showing up to my space and you're stuck with the height of the working table over there.
Exactly.
And like, maybe that's comfortable for you. Maybe it's not. Like, I've done a bunch of DJ sets where it's like a 3-hour set and I'm working off this table where I'm like hunched over the whole time.
Right.
And by like 90 minutes, halfway through, I'm like pretty uncomfortable and I'm just wishing that I had something to prop this controller up or my laptop or whatever, you know?
Right. People don't pay money to see the top of your head for an hour. You know what I mean? Like, and also like, it's a body language thing.
Yeah.
It's in magic, there's this magician, a famous magician, Doc Eason. He says when you're performing, you need to be up and out. That's what your body needs to project, up and out, not down and in, right? And it even just small changes like that communicate something to the audience. It means something, and it also it changes the way that your art is perceived. Like it could sound really good, but if you're not presenting yourself, that kind of thing subconsciously messes with people.
Yeah.
Even like something as simple as like approaching a girl, or whoever you're trying to talk to. If you show up, kicking your shoes and looking at your feet and like talking to them with no eye contact, you're gonna have a different result. Even if the words are the same, you're gonna have a different result than if you showed up with your shoulders back and you looked them in the eye and engaged them in that way.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Seems like you have taken a ton of like away from like the philosophy of the magician world.
Yeah. It's all life. It's all life. I take everything from everything I've done and try to apply it into my life in some way, because that's a lot of time and energy that I put into that thing, if it's something that I don't do anymore. So you got to take value. You got to take whatever value that you can, so it's not wasted.
Yeah, thinking about yourself as a musician or someone creating music prior to diving into being a magician, did you feel coming back to the music, did it feel like crazy different for you?
Yeah, like I think had I not done the magician thing, maybe we wouldn't have had a conversation at a show. Maybe I wouldn't have felt confident to talk to strangers. Yeah, I used to. It was almost to a debilitating level where I couldn't. I wasn't really socially. I was a little socially inept, and I didn't have that social intelligence that I developed from approaching so many tables of strangers, so many banquet tables, so many round tops of like hard-nosed businessmen that didn't really want me to be there anyway.
Yeah.
But you're basically having to approach a table, kind of seduce them with your words or body language, or a really strong opener, to get the permission to stay there and show them your whole routine.
Yeah. What got you into the magic thing? What inspired that?
It was just an interest that I had from early on. Like, we're of similar age, so I guess in the late 90s there were a lot of this is like pre-David Blaine stuff, but there were a lot of magic specials, and I feel like people that gravitate towards magic are people who probably had some childhood trauma, maybe a broken home, broken family, and they're shy, and they need a vehicle to express themselves or stand out from others, and magic gave them that permission to do that. And so any kind of, and also just the intrigue and the mystery behind it, wanting to know how things worked, kind of the underlying mechanics of how things work in the world, how to make meaning of the world, and also the sort of alchemy where you're taking something, you're making something out of nothing, and even if it's the most simple thing, like taking your thumb off or whatever, just making magic out of the simplest things, and kind of giving that sense of wonder to somebody else, where maybe you came from a place that didn't have that wonder,
Yeah.
You're trying to fill that void within yourself, but also make sure that no one else feels that.
Creating those illusions and
Yeah. But what was I? So I started performing as a kid. Doing little tricks for my mom, and eventually started doing like kids' birthday shows all the way up until the age of 13, where I started to get around that age in adolescence, you start to become more self-conscious, and you start caring about girls and how you look and how you're perceived. And yeah, so I ended up quitting all the way up until kind of a big event in my life where it was kind of a family loss, family tragedy. And at the time I was about 25, and I was working at Chase Bank as an assistant manager. I had just gotten the assistant manager role, and I worked my way up from teller, and all this took like 5 years, and so that happened, and I was like, like, this doesn't seem right. Like, this whole situation where I'm doing some shit I hate so that I can eat food, it just doesn't feel right. So I'm just gonna kind of revert to my inner child and kind of try and break the matrix somehow by doing what I wanted to do when I was a child.
Because you had like completely abandoned that.
I had abandoned
in your
it
teenage years.
Right, from the age of 13 to about 25.
There was no practicing of anything.
No practicing of anything. I didn't even have any props. I didn't have any books anymore. Yeah. And so I started from square one, and started buying books. Eventually got proficient enough to where I reached out to magic shops were becoming extinct across the country, because the heyday of magic in the 70s, 80s, and 90s is gone, dissipating. There really wasn't a market anymore for it, and if there's not a way to make money from it, it's just not going to exist.
Yeah.
So
where was all this happening?
This is so I was working downtown Portland.
Okay. So are you
Chase.
like a Portland born and raised?
Yeah,
person?
I was born I was born in Yuba City, but I grew up in LA. Moved up here to Beaverton when I was 11, sometime around 96, 97.
So all of your formative years spent here?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. I tell people I'm from here, and the magic shop that I connected with was in Vancouver, a shop called Dave's Killer Magic Shop, which unfortunately does not exist anymore. I kind of cold called and did some emails, and I did a lot of embarrassing and kind of painful things to work myself up to the kind of more professional level where that was the only way that I was making money. But yeah, so it was a lot of pain and humiliation that led me there.
Damn. And then you got some gigs.
Yeah, then I got some gigs. So I started just kind of working in the magic shop, and then I was managing the magic shop, and then I was kind of networking with a lot of the local professionals that would come in and get their supplies. I would spend all my free time, practicing different routines. And eventually there's a magician, Craig Martin, who had a residency at Joe's Crab Shack, which used to be next to Husong and Larry's over in Vancouver, off of the water. And
that seems like such a wild place to just be doing magic in a restaurant like that.
Well, yeah, magicians call it the trenches. Like if you could make it in the trenches, you could perform anywhere.
Yeah.
And this is a place where you're going to be made fun of. You're going to be humiliated. You're gonna drop cards all over like some crab. You're going to
because you're just approaching a table. Like there's no performance space for you. It's not like you're the musician in the corner or something.
No, and no one's introducing you. You're going up there to strangers and introducing yourself, and you have about 30 seconds to get their social approval.
No one asked you to be there.
No one asked you to be there. And you could be in the middle of a routine, and the food comes, and you got to find a way to get out of it, because they're there to eat, and ultimately you're kind of secondary. Ended up doing that for about a year, and from there met someone that worked at a hotel. who was a hotel manager, and then so yeah, just went on from there.
Yeah.
From the hotel, you meet. That's where it was kind of my bread and butter, where I would meet all my customers.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And do you like build up to a point where you're actually like on some sort of stage performance where you're not just approaching tables of people in these public spaces and people, you actually get to like a performance level where people have bought a ticket to see magic,
right?
And they know what they've gotten themselves into.
Yeah, and that's kind of the point when I exited magic. That was kind of the point where I was at, where people were buying tickets for things, and there's kind of a hierarchy of performance spaces. There's street busking, there's banquet magic, restaurant magic, platform magic, small platform magic, stage magic, and then like television and all that kind of stuff.
And the institutions of like the Magic Castle.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
So after doing all of that, does showing up to a local Portland beat show and doing your performances, that feel like a breeze to you?
Yeah, it's like that sort of like flutter you get when you pre-performance anxiety. It's just kind of like I could just draw back on the time when I performed for like 2010 tops of only men Shriners who were just there to basically try and heckle me.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, I've done that. I can do a small bar show, and I know I can stand behind my music, and so there's not really anything that's going to mess with me.
Yeah, you don't have to walk into a restaurant and just go table to table and be like,
yeah,
here are my beats.
yeah. Well, yeah, like a rolling cart.
Yeah. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Oh man. So started doing magic as a kid. You step away from it.
Mm-hmm.
Does music happen in between the first break in magic then? Like in your teenage years, is that when you...
Yeah. So I guess it was like, I would say it was like, I think it's 1999, and MTV Music Generator came out on PS1, and me and my homie, he's a rapper now, Freeform Logistics. That was the first project I made, was with this guy, who's my childhood friend, childhood best friend, and his mom would take us to Fred Meyer over in Beaverton every Sunday, and this is when I was like 11. And the MTV Music Generators in the electronics section. It's all set up with the two controllers that someone could walk up and start playing. And it's set up in this mode where it's just like loops. So you can you push the triangle button and it plays the drums, and then you can add a bass line if you hit the triangle and the square. And I sat there the entire time she shopped. It was like an hour, and I was just, and you can record your little beat that you made, and these are just kind of predetermined loops, so it's not really like you're creating something, but you feel like you're creating something. You feel like a cool DJ.
Yeah.
And eventually I got that for Christmas, and started making songs on there. It even has a sample feature, which is way ahead of its time. And that's kind of, I got into beat making. Didn't have a home computer, so I would go to my aunt's house, and I spent my grade money on it was called Acid Pro 2.0, and then I think Sony acquired it after that for 3.0, but it was just a really rudimentary DAW that I think there's some guys like Danger Mouse started out on that same software.
Okay.
Just super. I don't even know if I had time stretching. If it did, it was really shitty. And yeah, that was during the time where I had quit magic and gone into this other thing. Started making beats. There was one other beat maker in my high school. I went to high school over in Beaverton, and there's one other beat maker. It went by the name Leg Donor, and he kind of put me on to hip hop. He was in a social studies class, and he was the first kind of person that I knew that could make beats and was kind of into the same kind of vein that I was. And he showed me. I remember the first time I listened to Aesop Rock was in this class, and he's like, "Yo, check this out." And he like gave me his headphones, and my mind was just blown. And and in that era of hip hop, of underground hip hop, like this was like the birth of the internet, basically, where if you wanted to find these guys, you had to know the right people, you had to know the right sites to go to.
Message boards, I would assume at that point.
Right,
Yeah.
like forums and message boards. That was how I was finding out like who was hot. Like,
yeah,
I remember there's this one site called Sandbox Automatic, and it was like the only place that I could find these, not only T-shirts of these underground artists, but like find these records to buy.
Yeah.
And then eventually going to PSU, Portland State University, I used to walk around the city all the time, and I found this record shop in Chinatown called 360 Vinyl. And there was this DJ there, Kez, and it must have been around 2003, 2002. There was a glass case of CDs, and it had like all the hottest, like kind of underground stuff. And it was the only place I knew in Portland where I can get underground hip hop. And I asked him, what's good, what's hot. I was like, this CD with this guy with the mask, this looks kind of cool. Like, what's this about? And he's like, yo, that shit's the hottest album to come out this year. And I was like, oh yeah. I was like, so I ended up buying it just off of his recommendation. Like back then, you didn't get to hear the shit before you bought it. It was just like, oh, this cover looks cool. All right, here's my money. And I remember playing that. And at the time, I had a part-time job working in the weight room at the rec center at PSU called the Stott Center, and you were allowed to play like whatever on the aux. And I remember just watching these old men like lifting, like with the balls hanging out, and MF Doom playing.
Hell yeah.
It's like totally not the setting to be playing Doom, especially because none of these folks are there. They're there to work out. They're not trying to hear like that kind of shit.
Yeah. So like prior to jumping on even that MTV music generator, did you have much interest in hip hop and like electronic music, or was that kind of like your gateway into it almost?
I did, and it was because I spent so we didn't have cable growing up. We had something called the box. So there was MTV, which I think you had to pay a certain plan for.
Yeah.
It was like the mid-range, or like the first tier of cable.
Mm-hmm.
But the box was always on, and the box was it's kind of like a subscription, not a subscription, but the TV Guide channel where there's all these there's a marquee of all of these programs scrolling downwards, and there's something playing in the top right corner just to kind of keep you busy.
Yeah.
The box was like this, where you can call and pick from a list of music videos, and it would play like 30-second clips of different videos. And some of the shit they had was good. Like they had, that's how I found out about Daft Punk, was when Homework came out. And that was one of the first CDs that I bought with my money. And that's kind of what got me interested in sampling. I remember hearing, I don't know the name of the song, but it was one of their singles where it's like, but it starts with some city sounds. And I used to think that was so interesting that like, okay, it's like it's putting me in a setting where I feel like I'm in a city, like as the song's starting. And that's, such a simple thing, but it's like really powerful. A really powerful tool. And then Prodigy, Fat of the Land came out. And I bought that CD with my, we used to get like $7 a week, and I would save up to go across the street. I lived across the street from a Target, so that was like my treat is every 2 weeks I had enough money to buy a CD.
Yeah.
And that kind of got me into kind of the more electronic side of things. But at the same time, they had like a sampling aspect to it too, where they were taking these drum breaks, and it's just the mystery and the wonder of like, where do these sounds come from? Like, how did this person do this? And I remember one track on Fat of the Land, it has like a car horn as a repeating theme. It just goes off like an alarm, like, and I just thought that was so creative and interesting and so simple, but it adds something to the track that's like, this is kind of mysterious and kind of you're not only appreciating the music for sonically for what it is, but you're intrigued as to where it came from and what the person's reasoning was.
Yeah. And I feel like that can go the opposite direction too. That could have been like a turnoff for you too, but it ended up being like something you like attached to.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, well, people draw comparisons between collage and sampling, where it's like found art and repurposing art.
Yeah.
And samples are kind of the same way. And I remember I wrote a paper about this in college, about the morality of sampling. And I remember making this argument to where if the torn up pieces of paper are small enough and the artist is intentional about what color is placed where, what the composition is, what the mood is, they're making the same decisions as a painter would. If the pieces are small enough, how is what they're doing different than what a painter does?
Yeah. Do you feel like that also applies to the magic thing? Like where you're...
It can.
I don't know, like were you, like when you were doing magic, were you inventing tricks? Yeah. Or were you kind of repurposing these, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so there's guys that will take a routine from start to finish of someone else, or they'll take the pattern that you get in the little instruction sheet of the trick that you buy, right? Because it comes with the effect, the method, and then usually it comes with some pattern, right? And if you're saying that word for word, that's the equivalent of like you're taking a big piece for the collage and you're just pasting it on the paper and you're calling it finished and you're calling it yours, right?
Can you tell me what the pattern is?
Yeah. So pattern is just the script.
Okay. Cool.
And it's a really weird word that only magicians use.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's how I started out. I would synthesize bits and pieces that I liked from someone's performance. If I liked a prop that someone was using, I would go and try and find that prop. If I liked a line someone used, if I just cracked up at a line someone used, I would make a version of that for myself. And then you perform it. You put it through its paces. It becomes what magicians or performers call their 1,000 timer. And you do your 1,000 timer, and eventually it's yours.
Yeah.
Because you made little tweaks along the way where maybe you didn't get a laugh on this line, so maybe I'll just change a word. Or I use this method for this move, and it doesn't really work for my hands because I got big holes in my hands because I have skinny hands, so I needed to do a different method.
Yeah.
And then I just discovered that, hey, I just created a whole different method that's unique to me.
Yeah.
And eventually it's my own because I put it through its paces.
Yeah. It feels like it has some parallels to sampling a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Because sampling, you're synthesizing what already exists, and to create, it's a form of alchemy where you're creating you're creating your own thing.
And there's so many ways that then you can go and manipulate the thing that you have sampled.
Right. And there's that whole thing.
That's your creative choice of like, okay, maybe you ripped the same drum kit that 15 other people did, but like, what did you then do with it?
Right. Did you reverse it? Did you put it through a tube amp?
Yeah. And the same thing with like a vocal narrative, maybe that you've like sampled from something.
Because they're
The only way that you can be normal in a society like this is to be complicit with things that are inhuman.
You mentioned earlier that you and I are of the same age. We both turned 40 this year.
Yeah, I mentioned that, and then you mentioned that after the show.
Yeah. How you feeling about it?
I still feel like I'm 25. I feel like, and my back hurts a little bit.
Yeah.
But I feel like the same person, and I don't know. I have friends that it really bothers them,
Yeah.
but it reminds them of their own mortality, and that there is going to be an end. But also, it's like you have so much experience, right? Like, so it gives me hope in a certain way where I'm like, wow, I'm like super smart now. I know like what not to do now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully more excited than regretful.
Yeah. No. Yeah, pretty much. I saw something that said, someone asked ChatGPT about, how do people live longer? And it asked them to analyze, parts of the world where people live the longest. And the answer that it gave was interesting to me, in that it said that above diet and above like sleep, and all that, what you would normally expect is what shortens people's life the most is if they're not living their inner truth, if their outside is incongruent with their inside. It ages them.
Yeah.
And causes a certain stress that shortens their life. And I was like, you know what? I'm doing pretty good then, because people tell me I look young, and I've done all of my childhood dreams. Like, I wanted to be a mailman, I wanted to be a magician, and I wanted to make beats. And I either am doing or I did those things, and maybe I'll make it till I'm 90 because of that.
Dude, that's awesome. Honestly, it's really inspiring, I think, to like know that you can do the things you really wanted to do,
Yeah.
And I think like I feel like in some ways I was a little bit of like a late bloomer in some of those revelations, like growing up in the suburbs, especially, I think like doesn't always like breed that mentality. And then I think like some things happen in my life that push me outside of those bounds, and I'm like so grateful for that. And I maybe had like some of those like college awakenings that people experience in their late teens and early 20s in my late 20s. And like when I moved to Portland, Oregon,
Right.
13 years ago now almost, it was like kind of that time for me where I got to like really do the self exploration and be exposed to like a different way of living, and just different ideas around things, and really got to like focus more on creative endeavors. And and then like I guess it's been about 5 years since I quit my 9-to-5 to kind of pursue this type of stuff more with my life, and like do some other things and kind of dive into the music industry in different ways. And I recently like took a job again, and it's like in the field that I want to be in.
Right.
Congruent. I'm also like realizing that like I think I kind of broke my brain a little bit these last like 5 years of having that freedom and like really doing the stuff I want to do, because even now doing this new thing, it's like it doesn't feel like it's 100% aligning with the thing. And I'm just like, oh, this doesn't even like, I'm not sure that this feels like the thing I quit my other job for.
Right.
In some ways. But yeah, it feels good to be around people that are achieving the things that they like really want to do, you know? So
Yeah.
I always wanted to go on tour and never really got that chance with the band I was in my early 20s, but the last few years I've gotten to do a lot of tour managing that like feels like it feels the same to me. Like
Right.
I'm not on stage doing the performance, but like
Yeah,
I'm
that
a
sense of
part of the
freedom.
thing.
Yeah.
And like it feels like there's a lot of purpose to that, and I like feel like it's like a role that serves me and like hopefully serves others. Like can do the job well, and like I can live the road life and whatever, but yeah.
I feel like some people go their whole lives not leaving the suburbs, so to speak, where they don't even get that. They don't even know what it's about. They don't even know that they've imprisoned themselves. And even though it's a huge liability and it's scary, it's because this world is not made to encourage that. It's made to
not at all.
encourage compliance and contribution to a specific system. But I feel like probably when you came back to the 9-to-5 world, it's like coming back into a room, like let's say you stay in your apartment for too long and then you leave and get some fresh air. When you come back and it smells kind of weird and you're like, holy shit, this is what I was living in? Like,
Yeah.
ugh.
Yeah, definitely. But it's it is weird to like be 40 but also feel 25, like you were saying, in some ways, or
Yeah.
like I feel like it's not. My back also hurts a little bit more, especially after playing hockey, but I think I'm also just like pretty stoked to keep pursuing things I want to be doing,
Yeah.
and that there's still some boxes left unchecked that I want to like go after.
Yeah. There's some people don't have like a role model or someone to look at that's like, okay, I can just I can be like that person. I can just do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
Like this is these kind of like rules and constraints, they're just fucking, this is all made up.
Yeah.
Like I could put on like a clown wig and like go walk down Burnside if I want.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And like maybe something cool might come of it. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to know that exists when there's not people around you like living that life. Or
I didn't have a lot of male role models growing up because of my specific family situation, but like I was lucky enough to have someone that was that role model for me when I was a child. And I recently went back to LA and got to reunite with him, and he's still the same person. And then talking to him now, he was like, yeah, like I was one of the early pioneers of raves in Los Angeles, and I helped find all the first venues of the LA house scene. And I remember thinking like that really makes sense. Like that definitely. I definitely, those tapes that you played for me in the car, like that definitely had an impact. And like, yeah, we're all just trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Do you feel like a lot of that teenage spirit still exists in you when you're making music today?
Oh, totally. Yeah. Like
you're like tapping into something like pretty similar.
Yeah, just kind of free and, borderline self-destructive kind of attitude. Like, kind of, and that like anti-establishment thing too. I try and embody a little bit. I feel like, especially in hip hop as an attitude, or it's very counter what am I trying to say? Counterculture, or anti-establishment. At
Yeah.
least at the root of it, like the evolutionized form of it, just like the early days of punk.
Yeah.
That sort of antisocial, anti-conformity thing. The best guys that did it and the best eras embody that, and so I try and do that, like at least in the way that I present it, and in the way that I create, like smoking an obscene amount and just like, or whatever, drinking way too much coffee.
Yeah.
To see like how far I can push something.
So you started this 20 to the Dome series, what, like 2020?
Yeah.
Volume 1 seems to not be... Where do you find Volume 1?
Volume 1...
Where does it exist? It doesn't seem to be on anything. I tried.
Yeah. So, no, totally. Okay, so I have this idea. So that's a very intentional thing.
Okay.
I scrubbed it from the internet.
All right.
If you weren't there, you weren't there.
All right.
Because I think that there needs to be, especially these days, people think that they have some kind of inherent entitlement to everything that the entire discography of someone, everything that they created, because just because of our current age where information and data is free on anyone. But what's the incentive to be engaged with an artist of what they're creating if you can just say, I'll just check it out later. Like,
Yeah.
It'll be online. Oh, it's online. What's the incentive to go to a show if it's like, oh, it's live streamed? Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I'll catch up with it later. Well, you have to create that incentive structure. And so, if you weren't there, I'm sorry. Hopefully that'll incentivize you being here. It's just like that early 2000s era of underground hip hop. Metal Fingers, Special Herbs and Spices. I could not find volumes, I think 1 through 4 back then. Like if you weren't there, that's your bad.
Yeah.
Do better.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I think they re-released it, so now you can
Yeah,
hear.
they just did like a big vinyl.
Yeah, Rhyme
release.
Sayers.
Which is nice for someone like me who I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know about that shit at that
Yeah.
time, I guess. So like,
Right. But anyway, what I'm trying to do is like make it like a spotlight where you can only see 3 at a time.
okay.
Yeah, again, like these days, everything's so binary where people see decision making as, am I gaining something or am I losing something from a decision?
Yeah.
And so if you center all your decision making and your entire identity around whether I gain or I lose something, I don't know. The people aren't going to show up unless you give them an incentive. You're like, what's in it for me or what's in it for them? Well, what's in it for you is that you get to hear my shit.
Yeah.
And if you're not there, you're not there. And you could ask someone who was there about it.
It's kind of a nice incentive for people to actually like purchase music as well.
Right.
In this day and age,
Right.
like, I don't know, obviously you can see and hear that I like records. So I'm usually going to buy the physical record.
Right.
But even brings back like the desire for like a tape or a CD,
Right.
If you do put something out like in physical form and, and people learn maybe that this is like a part of the world that you're building.
Right.
Like you specifically as an artist, like, oh yeah, like he might take that one down soon. So like I'm going to actually like purchase this on Bandcamp. So like I own these files at the very least, even if
Right.
there's not a tape or a CD. So
Right.
so it's not like a thing where like you're just not as proud as Volume 1.
No.
Like it didn't complete the vision that you had at that time. It's more of like trying to create some sort of incentive for people to like actually keep up with what you're doing
Right.
at the time and take full advantage of the thing.
Yeah. It also gives me the option to release it physically later, and then
Yeah.
there's an incentive there.
Yeah.
You can't get it anywhere else. You
For
gotta,
sure.
and you got to come to the show.
Yeah. No. I can appreciate that for sure. Where do you maybe like see the most growth within yourself as an artist from starting Volume 1 to where you're at now with Volume 4 out in the world? And like, how are you feeling about making music in general right now?
Yeah, Volume 1 is really special to me. Just in that it was when I first started as a letter carrier, and I decided to make the mailman as kind of an archetype for this character. And also it was a very hard time for me, to where making these beats was like the only thing that was getting me through these 12-hour days.
Yeah.
I would carry her out. The management, the whole experience was like a very exploitive and abusive experience, to where to heal myself, I would go home and make these beats. And I'm really proud of the artwork for it. I like it. And, you know, the fact that some people won't be able to see it kind of bums me out sometimes, but also it's like, it also helps me with this forward momentum, to where, okay, they can't see this thing in the past, but check out this next shit I'm gonna make.
Yeah.
So I had this kind of existential crisis, and this kind of weird thing in my personal relationships, where beat making, I just kind of threw myself into beat making again, after taking 10 years off, because I transitioned away from being a magician. I realized I was like wasting my life, wasting my time playing like video games, and so I sold all my video games, all my system, and I used that to buy an MPC. And within 9 months, I had put out Volume 1. So it was very like, Volume 1 was like, I'm learning to make beats again.
Yeah.
I'm learning like what sounds good.
Yeah.
So if you do end up hearing it, you can hear that I'm kind of figuring out my sound, and now, I guess it's like 5 years later, Volume 4, I finally feel like I'm up to speed, and I finally feel like I have a product that's worth showing. So
Yeah.
yeah,
You're just a little more sure of yourself and
yeah,
your decision making, and your process, it seems like, is very like dialed in, the way that you want to like approach making a record, and the methods that you have to discern like what belongs and what does not.
right. I have some regrets in kind of my earlier days, the earlier volumes, and now I know. Now I know what not to do. So.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier that you like really like never put anything into a DAW, like with these projects.
Oh yeah, because we were talking about limitations.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's kind of my limitation, is not using traditional computers.
Yeah.
Samplers are computers.
Right.
But not in the sense to where I can have as many effects that I want, use as many VSTs as I want, use as many tracks as I want. And I did that because all of my heroes had this constraint, to where they would just have, they would sit down with an MPC, with one machine, DJ Premiere, Madlib, kind of how Flying Lotus started. with these very primitive tools, and just kind of just finding a way to make magic from them. It lends itself to certain song structures, the way the song mode works, and it lends itself to a certain sound, the way the AD and DA converters work, and it leads itself to kind of more of a simplistic, stripped down feeling kind of beat of early boom bap. But then I'm like, okay, maybe there's something that they missed that I can find within this process that is new. Like, what can I make that's new sounding with these old tools?
And do you also, does it help you not, I don't know, get too like wrapped up in a track as well, as far as like having all of these like different options of like what you can do with something?
Well, it's definitely like there's less distractions. Like, I'm not, I can't check Instagram on an MPC. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I could put my phone away, and sometimes I'll come back from beat making and be like, oh shit, I have like 10 missed phone calls and like all this shit.
Yeah.
And I guess that could be bad in a certain way, but like it's good. Like it's good to, and also it's like you get this feeling in this relationship with these tools, just like you would like a guitar, where it's like it's very it feels like it's an instrument.
Yeah, it's very physical.
Everything's tactile. Everything has its own sound. If you spend enough time with it, like this sequencer has a certain swing and a certain locked in feel to it, and you don't get the MIDI drift that you do on a DAW. And when I made the decision to stop to only do hardware, DAWs weren't caught up. Like the shit would freeze. You'd get like a pop-up window like randomly and be like, you haven't updated your blah blah blah. And I don't know if that happens these days as much, but I've still kind of stuck to that formula because it just hasn't not worked.
Yeah, it's not fucking with your workflow.
Right. Right.
You just eliminated it from the process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also like now with like social media and shit, like, because during the pandemic there was this whole era where it was like, oh yeah, check out my Dallas jam. Like, look at my succulents. Like, look at my succulents next to my gear, and check out these LED lights. Like, well, anyway, like hardware stuff was very like Instagrammable at one point, very trendy at one point.
Yeah.
And then I remember looking around and being like, yeah, like I'm cool. I'm cool. I'm cool now. Just on accident. But it is more visually interesting to see someone with these tools on a stage. So there is that value, as opposed to like having it look like someone's checking their email.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
Like the back of someone's Apple logo is not as interesting.
Is it easy for you to know when a track is done? And do you think like maybe like avoiding the DAWs like helps with that too, where you're not like?
Yeah, what helps me to know is I've decided that I'm gonna go through all these tracks and do the percussion. I'm gonna go through all these tracks and use this compressor.
Yeah.
Right. And once I've done all that, I'm like, okay, if this shit hits and I like it and I've heard it for 3 years,
Yeah.
someone else is gonna like it, I think.
Yeah.
And having that a certain method to it kind of helps that along to know that something's done.
Yeah.
Because it's gone through step 13. Like, yeah, cool.
When you're initially like doing the sequence, is it pretty clear to you song to song, or is it like, let's shuffle these up a bunch and like see how things are playing into one another?
You mean like arranging certain beats next to one
Like
another?
like actual track listing, you know, figuring out what's gonna be
Yeah.
1 through 20.
Yeah. So, and it's especially evident on this last one. I used DJ software where I was analyzing the keys of things.
Okay.
And the BPM of things, and you know how many BPMs can I deviate to get to this idea?
Yeah.
From this idea to this idea, what does it sound like slowed down? Or you know, can I double this up? Like, and then so it was just the tempos and the BPMs of the finished product is not what I created it as, because I went through this process where I was, in order to select my beats, I was using DJ software as like a last step.
Yeah. So that's what like attributes to maybe its seamlessness.
Right. Yeah, and now I've decided that I'm going to do that for future projects because, again, like the goal is to get someone to listen through the whole project.
Yeah.
Without skipping.
Yeah. And that's I always think it's cool when someone makes like a record, like a complete project, and you find that tool that like will carry on, you know?
Right.
And like in this case, that DJ software.
Yeah.
And like maybe, I don't know, maybe that's only the next record that you make and you decide like, that's not something that's going to carry forward, but maybe it becomes like a staple for you.
Right.
Forever.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And yeah, just like in performing magic, you strip out what doesn't work and you carry on with what does, you know, what they call what gets the money, right?
Yeah. Have you ever dreamt or thought about like combining the beats and the magic? Is there a world where that like is a thing, you know, where you're like pulling a rabbit out of an NPC or some shit?
There's a classic, you know, magic has these classics like the linking rings and the cups and balls.
Yeah.
Sponge balls, all that sort of thing. One classic is called the Miser's Dream, and it's like you're pulling coins out of air and you're dropping it into a bucket, or you're. So I had this idea of an Instagram video where I'm performing, I'm doing finger drumming, and then like I'm like producing coins at the same time as I'm. Anyway, that's been an idea that never happened. It's a little silly. Maybe it's just for my head, but that is something that's come to mind.
I'm here for it.
Yeah,
I'm ready for it. Whenever it's gonna drop.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
How do you feel?
Feeling great, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You feel like we like?
I think
covered like the things.
Yeah, I feel like volume 1's complete. So.
Volume 1 of our podcasting series.
Yeah.
Let's see. I want to play the episode out with the last track on volume 4, which is After School Club.
Yeah.
It's the outro.
Yeah.
Rule 4080.
Yeah.
What is that reference to?
Tribe.
Okay.
Industry rule.
All right.
Yeah. Record company people are shady.
Just overall, and you speaking like you're trying to create things that, you know, people don't want to like skip through, like they're going to listen to front to back. And I find your project's very easy to do so, you know, like I just think it's like great listening experience. I think the vocal samples and like narratives are like help it along too, and just like make it feel like a cohesive thing. And yeah, just like in talking to you, like it's like very clear that everything is like calculated and, you know, very intentional and like thought out. And I think that you can like very much feel that in the records. So
thank you.
Yeah. it's a enjoyable listening experience. Like I feel like it's like some stuff I can put on for hours, you know. It's just like, let's just do them all, you know, except volume 1. I'm late on volume 1, you know. Maybe I'll get a link one day. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
Maybe
we'll
it'll
see.
come out in physical form.
Yep.
And then
Yeah.
that'll be my opportunity.
I'll see you at a show, and I'll have the cassettes.
But yeah, I'm glad that we finally did this too.
Yeah, man.
We've been
I think
talking
it was
about it
a couple
doing it
years in
for
the making. Yeah.
a while, so I'm glad that, I don't know, this felt like a good time to do so on the back of this new project. And you know, both of us turning 40 this year.
Yeah,
you know,
that
we're
feels
still
right.
out here making stuff. you
Right.
know?
Yeah. If you ever want to play golf or croquet, just like
Hey, I went to the driving range the other day, you know. It was a good time. Hadn't done it in a while.
all right, man. Well, appreciate it. Cheers.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll put all the links in the episode notes so people can keep up with you. And we end every episode of the podcast with a guest saying the tagline for the show, which is "It's a program," and it means nothing. It's just the way that my grandfather says the word program. He will.
It's a good adage.
Yeah, it's just a goofy way to end the show. So if we can get the Lawrence 1-3, it's a program. You can deliver it however you would like. It's the one time I'll ask you to look into that camera there, and then we can properly sail this thing out.
All right, y'all. This is Lawrence 1-3, and it's a program.
He nailed it, everybody. Links will be in the episode notes. You can find the music, you know,
You can find it.
wherever you listen to music. Links will be in the episode notes, and we're playing this one from volume 4. It's the After School Club, Rule 4080, the outro to the new Lawrence 1-3 project. That's the Jelly Jams, and we will catch you on the flip side, Portland, or wherever you are listening from.